How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Jerome Powell just did a secret interview, one that he didn't know was going to go public, and it's because it was actually a prank. I want to talk about that, talk about what he actually said that is so alarming. If you don't mind, please hit the subscribe button underneath the video, turn on that bell notification, hit the like button if you like videos just like this. This is probably going to be demonetized because it's from another account, but it was hard to find online. I couldn't find it on YouTube, so maybe there's a reason for that. I'm going to lay it out for you, though. Now, before we start, you should know that this was taken, it sounds like a couple months ago, given from some context. So when he talks about how many rate hikes they're going to do in the future, keep in mind that they've probably already done one of the rate hikes. Also, if there's background noise, I'm sorry, there are people working on our house here, but we'll push through. So let me start rolling the clip.
Это show real. On your opinion, which countries also suffered more from recent political situation and in economy?
Well, I would say not the United States. You know, we have our own energy here, and so it's really not us. I mean, it's going to be the Eastern European. You know better than I do, but it's going to be Poland and the Eastern European countries that are right there in close to Ukraine. I would think they're the ones who have suffered. I'm aware that Ukraine's suffering is. I mean, I can't personally experience it, but we all see what's happening. You know, people like me just want to support you in any way we can. But I have limited ways to do that in my professional job.
So I just talked to Christine Lagarde recently, and she told that they have already tried to minimize inflation. It's they got already around 7% inflation. It's a prediction for them, but there are a lot of many countries. So what do you have your prediction about inflation in the US?
I do, yes. Our policy rate quite a lot last year in order to slow the growth of the U.S. economy and enable inflation to come down, and we think that's working now. And I think we're very much on track to get inflation back down to our target, which is 2%. A lot depends on what happens in Ukraine on that, and what happens with Russia and their energy, and also with the opening of China.
If the rate is raised further, the standard of living of the population will fall. So how much should it fall in order for the Fed to stop raising the rate?
We've raised rates quite a lot, and the market is already pricing in two more quarter percentage point rate hikes. We'll look around after we make those two, and we'll say, should we do any more? And then the question will be, how long do we keep rates at this level? And I think we'll keep them there for quite some time.
Because the decrease in inflation is clearly less than we would like. And if it starts to rise, is the Fed ready to raise the rate sharply again?
Yes, of course. We will. If we need to raise our rates more, then we'll absolutely do that. We raised rates very sharply, historically sharply last year to get to the place we're at now.
In other words, does the Fed think that inflation should be reduced to 2% at any cost?
We think we do need to reduce inflation to 2%. That is our obligation. But I think the path there, as we walk that path down to 2%, we'll also be considering, not at this point, but a little further on, we'll be considering, the effects on the labor market as well.
So I think what's alarming about this is basically that Jerome Powell, first of all, his staff did not realize that this was a prank instead of the actual Zelensky. First of all, why would Zelensky care? I think he has bigger problems, or there would be something a little bit more official maybe than this. But Jerome Powell gave a lot of information that he hasn't stated so clearly, basically saying that, hey, the market's pricing in a couple rate hikes. We're going to do those rate hikes, then look around. Instead of saying, hey, I said everything in my last speech, or instead of saying, hey, after every single rate hike, we're going to take a look around, he said, we're just going to do what the market expects, and then we're going to see how it affects everyone. He was also asked, if inflation continues to move up, are you willing to raise rates quickly, hike rates quickly? And he basically said, Yes, at some point, though, they do have a dual mandate. But he said right now they're not even really thinking about the labor market. Right now they're just looking at inflation, which is kind of crazy. They should always be looking at both and trying to see how their policy rate decisions are affecting not only inflation but also the labor market. And maybe let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was saying that because they're not seeing a change in the labor market yet. So they don't really have to worry about that because they're just not seeing any problems. But that's not how it sounded when he said it. The last thing is he's giving information to someone that doesn't need to know. And when you think about it, a lot of people like Jerome Powell. A lot of people think that he's done a pretty good job. A lot of people think that he's a pretty stand-up guy for someone that works in the government. However, if he's willing to talk about this and talk about non-public information, basically saying, hey, we're going to raise rates 2 more times, then that shows some indication, first of all, that he's giving out information that could be very valuable, right? Maybe for some political reason, or he thinks he's doing service, by helping out Zelensky at this time. But he's not actually supposed to say stuff like that, right? He's not supposed to give out that kind of information. So if he's willing to do that to Zelensky, who else in the government is giving out non-public information, especially if someone's willing to pay for it, right? So that's kind of freaky that he is willing to give out that information about what they're going to do months ahead of time. And pay no attention to the dog barking in the background. But that is kind of crazy to me. I think it shows another reason why we want to have Bitcoin, because Bitcoin does not tell secrets. Bitcoin does not hide information. It's very obvious what's going to happen with Bitcoin because we know exactly how much Bitcoin will be out at any certain time. It can't be changed. And you have control over it. Unlike the U.S. monetary system, unlike the Fed, which can just change on a dime and leak out information. So in case that wasn't clear, those were pranksters just from Russia calling and getting through to Jerome Powell. That was not actually Zelensky. Kind of crazy how easy that is to get through to the most important man maybe in the world in terms of fiscal policy and talk to him about what they're going to do months in advance. Let me know your thoughts about this underneath the video, though. Does this make you want to hold crypto any more or any less? Thank you so much for watching. Check out the links underneath the video in case you want to know what I'm buying and selling. You can check out the Patreon. And in case you want some free stocks, you can check out Webull. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.